I want to come back to the band side of things, sure. And serving in a band, and what that style of giving back, that style of service is like, and what that means for you personally on an internal level while you're doing it.
You know, a lot of times it's hard to find the motivation. I think it's hard to try to figure out how music plays, because basically we're either, most military bands are either background music for a bunch of four-star admirals getting together and having a meeting with dignitaries, and people are constantly coming over to you telling you to play quieter, or we're playing marches for a ceremony, retirement ceremony, change of command ceremony, something like that. Those are a little bit easier to find the motivation for, but I think for me, luckily as a trumpet player, going out and playing taps at a funeral was spiritually the most rewarding and important work that I did as a musician, as a Navy band member. And it's unique that it's only trumpet players that go out and do it. And the joke that I used to tell people was, because nobody wants to hear taps played on an oboe, it's just doesn't have the same kind of impact as hearing it played on a trumpet. I think over the course of my 20-year career, I would probably estimate I've played taps at 500 funerals or memorial events. Most of them are people who are veterans who served 4 years or died of natural causes. I played for a lot of Vietnam veterans that passed away just from old age. But of course, having served during two periods where the United States was at war or in conflict, the first Gulf War and the second Gulf War, I also had to play at a fair number of active duty funerals of young service members that were killed in combat. And those are very challenging. Those were, you walk in and you do okay, you're standing at attention and they're giving the eulogy, and then all of a sudden the chaplain looks over at the firing detail, they bring the firing detail to attention, they do the salute, and then that's where it would start to hit me. I was stationed at the United States Naval Academy, like I was saying, from 2009 to 2012. And while I was there, they had the Class 46 class reunion. Part of every class reunion, they have a memorial service, and they do a roll call of the members of that class that had passed away. So the week that the class of 46 had their reunion was my week to be the duty bugler. So I knew I was going to have to play taps for the memorial service in the United States Naval Academy Chapel, which is this beautiful acoustics, double a balcony with an organ and everything. Anyhow, and so the buglers, we would always situate ourselves up in the balcony next to the organ to take advantage of the acoustics, and also so I could have a good view of the service taking place down there. So I heard the last name that was being called, and then I was going to play taps after that last name. As soon as I heard the last name, I put the horn up, played taps. I felt after I finished that it was pretty good. I was pretty happy with the job that I'd done. I was packing my horn up, and the Secret Service agent came running upstairs to the balcony. She said, "Excuse me, if you don't mind, if you have a second, President Carter would like to have a word with you."
If you have a second, if you don't mind, a big
yeah, they were very polite. I was like, "Yeah, let me check my schedule." No, as president, right. So I felt very honored. I really wasn't sure what it was he wanted to say or ask me, but I came downstairs, and the President Carter and his wife Rosalind were standing right there, and he turned to me and he said, "I just wanted you to know that in all my years of public service, that was the most beautiful taps I ever heard." And I felt very humbled and grateful that he wanted to take the time to tell me that, because it was one of the nicest things and one of the most validating things I think I've ever heard in my career as a trumpet player, both in the Navy and outside the Navy.
Wow. I touched on that idea and also the emotional impact that playing has. I think it's something that as the public, we don't really even necessarily think about, if we're going to be honest. You kind of watch it, you see the movements, and they go into motion. You guys go into motion. You do the tune, but to actually think of the behind. And the toll and the impact that it has. And I was mentioning earlier about there's an Australian tune that I've always heard growing up, The Last Post. It brings most Australians to almost to tears, which I'm sure taps is the same here in the United States. And to hear what that means on your side is very enlightening and very, very interesting.